during this whole time of, quarantine during the coronavirus, many people, especially students, are taking this very hard. It has come to my attention that many students feel displaced. They feel like refugees, like they have been removed from their what they would feel like is their place of dwelling. And upon realizing that, I was talking to the leadership team about how they were, and one of my students blurts out, "Man, y'all sound depressed." And so it was just so abrupt and so just whoa, just but it led to a conversation of the difference between thriving and surviving. And so I want you to really consider just your lungs, okay? Your body. For me to survive, my lungs have to continue to take in oxygen. Just like that. All I have to do is just sit here, and my lungs will perform an involuntary movement in which they simply take in oxygen. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to think. I don't have to strive. I don't have to do anything to survive. However, if I want to thrive, let's say I want to become an athlete, okay? So I want to go from just surviving and doing nothing with my physical body to improve it to thriving. I have to do something intentional. If you talk to any health expert, they will tell you, hey, you've got to control your breathing. So we go from a place of I can sit here and not think about it, do nothing about it, to I've got to intentionally focus on my breathing. I've got to intentionally control and focus on my breathing to have the right amount of oxygen so that my muscles can begin to grow and thrive and have what they need to perform the exercises and the movements. So just right there in just physical activity, we can see how thriving and surviving are not one and the same. Surviving takes you sitting on the couch and just, but thriving takes you being intentional. Okay, it takes you being intentional. And during this time of coronavirus, we can be like a boxer in the corner, just taking hits and taking hits, and just saying, well, eventually this is going to be over. Round 1, round 2, round 3, eventually this is going to be over. Or we can get out of this corner and we can start throwing blows back. But we've got to be intentional. We've got to get our breathing right. We've got to get it right, and then we can come out on the other side thriving. So now I'll have my wife go ahead and talk about what it looks like to really thrive during this time.
Yes, and I have notes because I have to write down everything. So first I had to look up the definition of thrive because I think when when people use it, sometimes just vocabulary in general, we don't always know what the definition of that means, and that's what he's taught me through marriage, which could be a different video. But I had to look up the definition for myself because I knew he would ask me. So when I looked it up, the definition of thriving or thrive means to grow or develop well or vigorously. Other synonyms that are used are to prosper or to flourish. So I have 4 main takeaways, I guess, essentially, or actions that you could do in order to move from just surviving, as Josh said, to actually thriving and being intentional. The first one is that thriving is a state of mind. It's a feeling. It is not a being. So that means myself, you, Noah, you all watching, you have the ability to thrive. Now you have to put action into it, but every human being, everything that has life within it has the ability to be able to do that. And so I also want to talk about merely knowing something, but also putting action to it is different. So I was telling someone the other day that I could read a book about how to swim, right? What the safety of swimming is, how to swim, the equipment that I need, my breathing, my body, things like that. But if I never actually jump into the pool and try it myself, I'm never going to be able to know how to swim just by reading a book or a novel. So know that you, just merely being alive, have the ability to thrive because it really starts with your mind and it really starts with a feeling. When you feel like you're thriving, what does that feel like? You feel successful. You feel like you're on top of the world. You feel like you're a boxer who can fight back. You feel like you could be successful. Hey, I'm just saying, I did my little T25 this morning.
Guard my chin. I say, okay, I see you.
Thank you. So thriving is an action, it's a mindset, and it's a feeling. It's kind of all of those things together, and we can go way more deep into that as well. But that's just the first thing. The second one is that in order to move into a place from just surviving into thriving is you have to know what matters to you. And that comes into intentionality. Why do you want to thrive? Really just you, not why does my mom want me to thrive? What does my dad think I should be thriving in? Like, how should I develop vigorously and flourish in my life? How will I prosper? And how do my intentionalities in terms of thriving, how does that affect others? So it has to be something that matters to you. It can't be a shoulda, coulda, woulda, what I should have done, what I could have done, what I would have done. But thriving really takes that action and saying, like, what actually matters to me. And that's not an easy answer. It's not, oh, let me create 10 things that matter to me. Some things may be able to come like off the top, but then you'll realize when you actually look at your list, what are those things that have been things that I've been influenced to believe that I need in order to be prosperous, in order to develop within myself, and what are things that actually truly matter, like, to my heart? The third thing in order to move from surviving into thriving is you need community to get there. So just as much as it is knowing what matters to you, we would be foolish in thinking that you can do it all by yourself. It's not true. And it's not happy doing it all by yourself at the top. Ask any billionaire, ask anyone who's at the top, and you'll realize that they have a community of well-rounded people around them. And if they don't, I guarantee you whatever facade they're putting up is a front. So you have to be able to look at your circle and look at their mentality and what matters to them and saying, are they serving me? Like, are they helping me to thrive, to develop, to grow vigorously? Or is it, or like, what is my position in that relationship?
Are we helping them?
Yeah, are we helping them also? Like, there's so many ways in which we can subconsciously be in community that's not serving us or we're not serving them. So taking this time as we are in community virtually to really look and scan, okay, who are my Facebook friends? What am I following on Instagram? You know, who are people in my contacts that I feel like I can call out to, not just because I need something, but just to really help me develop and think vigorously. So just to recap, the first one is that thriving is a state of mind, and you have the ability to do that. So just knowing that should just unlock a lot of tools. But like I said, just knowing it is not enough. You have to put action behind it. The second one to move to a place of thriving is knowing what matters to you. The third one is community, and the fourth one, and I feel like I'll always end with the third one in this video, is like making the necessary steps to move yourself forward. Because we could sit here and talk about thriving all day and then not take any action, and this video was a waste for both us and for you. So in finding that community, find mentorship, find a coach, find a friend who will not just tell you all the things that you want to hear to make you feel good, but also challenge you and challenge your thinking to be able to move you forward. So as we're in quarantine, we're not saying you have to move into this place of thriving, but what we are saying is what better time is it than now? And even if you are someone who still has to go into work and your routine hasn't changed, what better than to now than to actually reflect on those things and really move yourself forward? And that's just really where our heart is and what we kind of challenge, aka fight about a lot within each other. How are we growing? How are we developing? How are we flourishing? And how are we serving other people? And how are they serving us?
Man, that really was super awesome.
Oh,
super
thank you.
Awesome. You know, I think that could definitely be applied to how I felt, you know, the first week of quarantine. You know, I think it's very important that we also, you know, we not only teach you and give you this information to train you, but also just give you a real life example. So the very first week of teaching at home, you know, I really have this belief I value, like she talked about earlier, knowing what you value, knowing what you desire. I really value and want to be a great husband, a great father, a great leader, great teacher, etc. But I'm not used to having to do all those at once. So before Corona, I could go to work, be a teacher and leader, you know, and all that good stuff, all those hot words. I could come home, be a husband, and then, you know, be a father, and I could compartmentalize. But coronavirus is stretching a lot of us to do a lot of things all at once. And so that first week, I was just surviving. I was just like, okay, you know, Governor Doug Ducey said, you know, 2 weeks. Okay, not 4 weeks. I just gotta let the time tick down. I just gotta survive this. And then finally I reached my breaking point. And that breaking point is where, you know, you have to come to this crossroad of decision of, do I want to just, you know, survive? Like my wife said, you don't have to choose to thrive. You can wait it out. You know, this could be a run out the clock situation, you know, or you can choose to thrive, as in you are going to grow intentionally. And so I hit that wall and I said, no. I said, I want to be a great husband, a great father, and a great teacher. I didn't say I want to be those separately. I said, I want to be all of those things. And this has given me the opportunity to grow intentionally. So the second week, instead of just surviving and just whatever happens, happens, whatever's meant to be is meant to be. No, I became the co-writer of my own story, you know. And so I said, how can I better serve my wife? How can I better connect and serve my daughter? How can I better connect and serve with my coworkers? How can I better connect and serve with, you know, my students? You know, many times when we talk about growing vigorously, thriving, it's like my wife said, we need that community to practice the new skills that we're growing in. So without community, you know, not only, like she said, you're not going to be poured in, but you're definitely not going to pour out to anybody else. How are you really thriving and growing if you are not putting anything else out there? So it's not all about us during this time, but it's also about our community. And many times when we grow, it's going to be through those means. And look at our little one.
What better example than
Hey,
thriving through this video
hey,
with
boo-boo, you want to say bye-bye? Say hey.